Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank Chairman DeFazio, Ranking Member Graves, as well as Chairman Napolitano and Ranking Member Westerman for this good bipartisan 2020 Water Resources Development Act. By no means do we all agree on everything in this bill, but the process for putting it together was exemplary, and I think that's why we have this agreement today. Each member had an opportunity to submit their priorities to the electronic portal earlier this year, and then Democratic and Republican staff took joint meetings and worked together through the requests submitted. This is how Congress gets things done. And there are a lot of good things in this bill, not only for my district, Northeastern Illinois, the Midwest, but for the nation as a whole. First, the bill raises the federal cost share for inland waterways projects from 50% to 65% for 7 years. It makes that cost share change permanent for any project that receives construction funding during that time period. Our inland waterway system is an integral part of our nation's transportation system, moving 578 million tons of cargo valued at nearly $232 billion in 2017. A lot of work is currently needed to repair and replace critical locks and dams. The cost share change will help fund navigation projects like the Navigation and Ecosystem Sustainability Program along the upper Mississippi River. It's important to remember that the inland waterways community did their part in providing additional funding for projects when they advocated for an increase in the user fee they pay. I was this committee's chief Democratic co-sponsor of legislation to raise this fee when Congress passed a 9-cent per gallon increase back in 2014. Unfortunately for our nation, this is the only transportation user fee that we've managed to successfully raise in many years, despite our infrastructure needs. This bill also authorizes the Brandon Road project, with Ranking Member Westerman just mentioned, and it makes the federal cost share 80% to help accelerate construction. This project will build a barrier at Brandon Road in Joliet, Illinois, to block Asian carp from entering the Great Lakes. If Asian carp spread to the Great Lakes, they could destroy the entire ecosystem of the world's largest system of freshwater lakes. We must protect the great treasure that is the Great Lakes, and the Brandon Road project is an integral part of our efforts. I also want to quickly mention two other provisions in a bill. First, the bill directs the Army Corps to expedite completion of the Chicago shoreline study to determine what additional infrastructure improvements are needed to address the ongoing erosion of the Chicago shoreline from rising lake levels and flooding. Second, the bill authorizes a new study to take a comprehensive look at the entire Chicago River system to determine what environmental restoration can be done to improve the health of the whole system. I thank the committee for including these provisions. Finally, the bill authorizes the Bubbly Creek Restoration Project, which I have championed for many years now. Anyone who has read Upton Sinclair's book, The Jungle, would be familiar with this waterway, which was used as a waste dump from the Chicago Union Stockyards. It's called Bubbly Creek because you could still see the bubbles coming up from years ago, though the stockyards have closed. The carcasses are still decaying there in the bottom. There are still outstanding concerns from the Army Corps about their potential CERCLA liability from cleaning up Bubbly Creek that are not yet addressed in this bill. But my staff and the Water Subcommittee staff have worked closely over the years to try to address the Corps' concerns and have come up with some draft language to address this liability issue. I'm hopeful we can continue to work to address the liability issues related to Bubbly Creek cleanup, with the goal of including language that addresses that issue as part of this word of legislation. Again, I want to thank Chairman DeFazio for all his work on this bill, along with Ranking Member Graves, Chair Napolitano, Ranking Member Westerman. It's a very good bill. Very glad that we're here today. Thank you, and I'll yield back.
Thank the gentleman. Happy birthday, Dan.